Sisi tutaenda ground, kila mtu ground kwake, door to door. Turudishe watu wetu katika ile njia.
Ati foreigners ndio wanakuja kutuambia ati kuna tofauti ya Meru na Mkikuyu na Muembu, Mudharaka. Hata wanatuambia sasa mtu wa Kirinyaga ni kando, wanatuambia wa Nyeri ni kando. Wasahau vile walisahau kunyonya. Kwa sababu sisi kama mlima tunashikana tukiwa kitu kimoja.
Kama tutakaa kitu kimoja, hatuwezi kuwa kitu kimoja kama tutakuwa huku huyu ako pande ile, mwingine kule, mwingine kule. Lazima tutakuwa na chombo moja.
Consolidate our numbers and negotiate as one team. That we shall not have north or east or northeast and southeast and south and whatever.
If we don't sit down and come up with the agenda for our region, we will be wasted and will be forgotten for the next 50 years.
Wangapi wanataka tujipange jameni? Tujipange ndio tuweze kuvuka tukiwa pamoja. Na hii maneno ya Eastern, sijui Mount Kenya na Western inatoka wapi?
All right, those are some of the leaders from Mount Kenya region, the counties within there. We're talking about some 10 counties, if you're to include Nakuru on that list. And in 2017, according to the figures from the IEBC, there were 5.3 million registered voters. Out of that, 4.079 million votes were cast for Uhuru Kenyatta, and that's why that discussion is so heated. And Honorable Alice Ohome, so there's that posturing that is taking place. Of course, there's another faction that you belong to that has been saying it's time for the Hustler movement, it's time for UDA within the mountain, and the mountain is said to be split between east and west. From where you sit, what's going on, and what's the best route for that region if you have to focus on the interests of the area?
Okay, if we talk about regional politics, I think it would be the wrong starting point. We are talking about national politics here, and we believe in forming a national outfit. And if you look at where Jubilee started, Jubilee came on the basis or on the objective of uniting the country. And I think that should not be lost or has not been lost. United Democratic Alliance is discussing with the Hustler movement. You know, the largest population in this country, 85% actually are Hustlers. And we have been discussing about...
Just for clarity, what's your description of the definition of Hustlers?
I mean, people who have been forgotten, people who are at the bottom of the ladder, people who at the moment, if you look at the clip that you have played out there, they are talking about, previously they have been talking about coming up with a constitutional change to address certain issues. But now they have left that. Now they are discussing about a split in the Mount Kenya. They are talking about uniting the people. You know, forgetting that what they had been preaching on BBI was about uniting the country. I think we should be discussing about a national outfit. United Democratic Alliance it has moved on. It's not going to start talking about one single region, because we have membership all over the country, and we are focusing on the bottom-up economic model.
Honorable Home, you've not answered my question. I'm asking, who are the hustlers in your
definition? I will answer. I am now there, Sam, on the bottom-up economic model. That will address the ordinary Kenyan who cannot put food on the table, who is unable to access health care, who is unable to even pay their school fees, who is actually trapped right now by the fact that accessing even facilities, loans, money, it's not possible that we can continue every time forming a government on promises to change the lives, to bring real change and economic change in the lives of all Kenyans by working from the bottom down. It has not happened.
Sorry, you mean top down?
Yeah, from up to you know, from top to bottom. You know, the current model focuses on top bottom, empower a few investments here and there, entrepreneurs here and there, maybe 15% of that, to be able to create employment for the rest of the country. it has not happened. So you have to now reverse the gear and work it differently and focus the larger number.
Some have called it the trickle-down model.
It is top bottom is trickle down.
Yes.
Trickle down.
That's what I'm asking.
Start with 15%.
What is trickle down and what is bottom up in simplified terms?
You know, in this country, you have like two sets of Kenyans. There are those who have and those who don't have. There are those who have abilities and those who don't have abilities. Economic opportunities are not the same. The ground is not level. There are people who will walk to the bank today with a collateral and access money. There are people who will walk only with their name and get an overdraft. That doesn't happen to the largest portion of Kenyans. They don't even have a daily meal of 100 shillings. So if you can be able to ensure that the political environment first is peaceful, that even when you look at the daily activities of Kenyans, that you are looking at tea, you are looking at coffee, you are looking at pyrethrum, you are looking at cotton, you are looking at sugarcane, all those produces or products were enabling Kenyans in terms of money at the grassroots, you know, at home level, call it even at home level. When a woman leaves her house with her produce, she can expect, you know, a good value for her produce. It doesn't happen anymore. When you take your tea to the factory and wait for maybe 3-4 months for returns, you get a minus. You know, all of these are things that need to be targeted from the area that it is hurting.
Do you consider a boda rider a hustler?
Mama boga.
No.
Kiosk owner, boda.
Okay. So
actually, the wheelbarrow owner is the symbol of the bottom up.
That's fine. Let's be specific. Yes. A boda rider is a hustler. Yep.
I don't want us to isolate the boda because they are bede. He is a hustler.
Okay. So what?
And he could have come from our hustle.
That's fine. Yeah. A boda rider is a hustler according to you. So what will a UDA government do for him?
You know, Sam, a boda rider might want to actually ride a vehicle tomorrow, might want to own a supermarket, because maybe from the boda, he gives his wife some money to run the home or to run a kiosk outside his house. The boda rider, you know, we could reduce taxes on spare parts and actually completely remove those taxes and expect he will pay from his unga when he takes home a packet of unga. There is also tax. We could enable him to access facility. At the constituency level, we have been saying that the way we take money to the constituencies, we will also maybe take some sufficient money to be accessed by each, you know, those people who are able to and want to. The boda rider will...
I could be wrong, but yes. I thought I once had...
You know, having a bilateral conversation.
Just hold on, we're getting there.
Not a debate with everyone else.
No, I will.
And ensure that the boda rider can access funding, for example.
I had the National Treasury say that all motorbikes assembled in the country would be exempted from tax up to a certain extent.
Actually, Parliament is the one that did that, but it had been brought by the Minister for, Minister for Finance.
So, Honorable Priscilla,
and it was a very severe fight, Yeah.
We'll get back to that. Honorable Priscilla, with all this conversation that is going on, you see political parties exiting NASA to form One Kenya Alliance. You see a region like Mount Kenya, where you come from, saying that we have to stand together so that we are not used, because if we lose this opportunity, we'll be in the cold for 50 years. At the end of the day, do you see a political party that is keen on an agenda for the Kenyans, or is it just politicians coming together to look for power?
No, you know, the two are not exclusive to each other. The county that I come from, in Nyeri, for example, our interests in Nyeri, our development in Nyeri, the production, for example, coffee, tea, dairy, the resources that we get in the national kitty, that conversation is very, very important. The reason we send our representatives to the National Assembly and Senate is to actually get back resources for our rightful share. So that for this debate of the one man or one woman 1 shilling, 1 vote is a very live debate for our 10 counties in Mount Kenya. And that politics is very, very important for us as we go forward to 2022. And then we, therefore, must be united sufficiently so that our numbers can then mean political strength, can then mean development, can then mean devolution, and can mean the change that we want, that water is going to work in our homes, that agriculture is going to work, that roads are going to work, and that there will be job creation. Job creation is a live topic and a live discussion because unemployment is real in our country. And I find that the needs for Nyeri are not exclusive. What I'm saying about Nyeri is exactly what is required of the county that she comes from. They also want clean water. They also want good health care. They also want national resources to work in their interest. So when we now come and are forming regions, the regional unity is then what will later give you national unity. And this conversation is real. If you ignore this conversation in the mountain, then the national politics becomes a lot harder to practice. So I really support what was going on in Nakuru and what was going on in Meru and what was going on in Nyeri. We've also had similar engagements, that the people of the mountain have to find common voice, common language around our issues, and from that commonality, then now come to the national to negotiate for our interests at that regional level. And that is why for us, it is not just, you can't just say hustlers. That won't answer it. You can't just say wheelbarrow. That won't answer it. The answers that we need are a lot more detailed, is a lot more complex, and is a lot more deeper than just language and just putting hustlers in one basket. Those hustlers need answers. Those answers are in devolution. Those answers are in development. Those answers are in progress. Those answers are in institutions. Those answers are in stability. And that requires the conversations that you see happening. So those conversations must go on, and those are county conversations. You saw the governor of Kirinyaga, the governor of Nakuru, the governor of Laikipia, the governor of Nyeri. So counties
then you find the political vehicle or what? What political vehicle?
Yes, issues first. We condense our issues, we condense our interests, and then the vehicle, we will come to the vehicle later. But we must be very clear on the issues. There is very little reason for you to come to national politics if you're not clear on what you want the national politics to do for your region. So let us concentrate on putting our regional issues together, our regional issues in unity, and then we will find the vehicle.
All right, of course, for Alice Home, they have already found the vehicle.
We are ahead.
I want us to listen to some leaders because they actually spoke about the proposal of UDA to the people of the country, but also specific to the mountain. This is what they had to say.
Hata wasemi imefanyika, wanakaa tu wakisema huu tutafanya, tutaanza bottom. Kwani bottom ni gani? Sio ndio bottom? Kwani kuna bottom mwingine gani? Bottom ni kuangazia mkulima wa kawaida, huyo ako bottom. Kuangazia mwanabiashara yule mdogo ambao president ameweka pesa, hiyo ndio bottom. Kuangazia barabara za kilimo, mtu aweze kufikisha mazao yake kwa soko, hiyo ndio bottom.
Hata mwaka wa 2013, 2017 Jubilee tulikuwa tukisema sisi ndio digital. Sasa from digital si tunapaswa twende hata juu zaidi. Lakini huwezi ukatoka digital uende level zingine tunaambiwa. So we want to move to the next level.
All right, the interpretation of those leaders on what UDA is proposing, but just all rally. So, Honorable Mbalu, because yes, you have made a decision as Wiper, but what is your agenda? What do you want to do for this country and how?
Number one, we want to put every Kenyan in one basket. When we talk about the One Kenya Alliance, and as a member of the Wiper Democratic Movement, we want those who have and don't have, they have not, just to be in one country. We don't want to have they are calling bottom and the up. We want everybody to be included. And mostly important, to address the issues, the living standards of the people. And that should be the main agenda of any leader or any alliance or any people are coming together.
How exactly will you raise the living standards of people? Because the biggest challenge in this country is you make some money, there's a bit of taxation, you want to procure basic services, it's a bit expensive. How do you want to improve this?
Yes, I am talking as a member of parliament. Number one, we do the laws, and Alice would agree with me, we make laws in terms of taxes in parliament. But now, as a movement, as a one alliance, we want to ensure the issues that we are talking about, issues of water, issues of development, issues of ensuring the have-nots raise. We don't want to take advantage of just the people who do not have and run. The haves and have-nots, we want to put them together so that anybody who has anything, as even those rich, we call them rich people, if we have gotten their riches in good faith, let them help the ones who are down there. But now as an alliance, that's why we want one Kenya alliance.
So are you doing this out of an appeal or structural changes?
It's structural changes, but structural changes. We are looking at the issues that Kenyans are suffering. And that's why we are coming together and say, yes, we want to include everybody in the bus. We want to ensure that everybody is okay. We want to ensure development goes to every person. We want to ensure the issues that we address and that we serve as counties and as a country, we are going to address them as one, not looking at one side of Kenyans.
Okay. Yeah. And Tim, as you listen to this, because it's been several attempts, especially for the ODM party since 2007, 2013, and 17 when you had a presidential candidate. So this time round, what is the route to the top? Because UDA has made a proposal. Of course, people are talking about it. What will ODM do?
I think it just baffles that people who have been in the government for so long now waking up to a reality that there are Kenyans who are living in poverty, there are Kenyans who are down there, who are missing everything. It is the same government that has impoverished those Kenyans. It is the same people now coming up with ideas that are just laughable, because what is this thing about bottoms up and all that? And yet we were told...
Honorable Tim, just hold on. It's not bottoms up, it's bottom up. I think that's what I heard.
It is bottom to up.
But go ahead.
One bottom.
Now, you know, I'm just trying to understand, because every hustle and nation follower has got a unique description about what they are trying to sell to Kenyans. But what we are saying that we would like a country that moves together. We want a formation, we want an economic bloc that is going to incorporate all Kenyans. We want to bring the whole country, you know, like when coming with a coalition with the county governments, it was one of the steps forward that trying now to have Kenya grow together from those marginalized areas and the areas that have never been failed by the government. Now they could be failed through devolution. And devolution is one of the best things that has ever happened in this country. That is the thing that we should build on. That it is something that can be used now to bring up Kenyans who are still down there, and including funds that have come up like equalization fund, so that areas that are still marginalized can also be brought to the level of the areas that have gone so far ahead of others. And so I believe that what we should build on is trying to strengthen our county governments and giving them more resources devolved from the center to the county governments, and then also make sure that county governments are performing to the level that the expectation of the people.
But
so if we do that, then we shall have solved some of these issues that are now just coming up in piecemeal.
Okay.
This should be done as is prescribed in the law, and it is there. So we just improve on that.
Just hold on. There are those that feel that, yes, all these measures have been in place. Devolution is in its, is it 8th or 9th year now? You have had different funds, whether it's Uwezo Youth Fund and the other one, Women Enterprise Development Fund, but they appear not to have worked as so, but also the equalization fund has still been there. So even if you pump in more money, will it work for the common mwananchi who is trying to achieve at least the daily bread? Tim, that's a question for you. I'm asking you, with all the structures in place, are they sufficient to deal with what UDA is proposing, that we now want to reach the common mwananchi on the ground?
Sam, I can't hear you clearly. I don't know. What did you say? Maybe you repeat the question.
I'm asking you this question because you're talking about the equalization fund, you're talking about devolution, yes. You're also talking about the funds that have been in existence, and they appear not to have worked as people would have expected, because life is for the living, and every day that passes, then you have lost an opportunity if you didn't make a livelihood from that day. So what changes? Because UDA is proposing something that would reach the mwananchi on the ground. Can you still, even if we add more money, will it work?
It is, we know when we talk about economy, we must always talk about equity. That not all parts of Kenya, or even distribution of resources, cannot be done at the same level, but we must do it equitably so that each area feels that actually they are feeling they are enjoying the cake, the national cake. So when we realize that the funds being given to the county government is not sufficient, that's why some areas that have been so marginalized from independence had been given more money in terms of things like equalization funds, so that they can now bring up those other sectors that have been left behind, and also improve the infrastructure in those areas, because some areas have developed so fast and others have not. And also to make sure that the extension of the sharing of the national resource reaches even those nomadic areas, the areas that are semi-arid, the areas that have got some kind of hardships that are not experienced by other parts of the country. So that's the way the government comes up with various ways of trying to bring up areas that have been marginalized because of maybe an environmental condition or some other condition factors that have impacted on those areas.
Okay. All right. Commissioner, do you think there's a better way of doing things or resolving the challenges that Kenyans face outside politics? Because politics is seasonal. Every 5 years you have to make a decision. There are partners that fall out, so it affects their lives. Is there a better way of fixing this country?
Yes, there is indeed. Actually, it's economic. It is true that as a country we spend a lot more time on politics, although not just us, I think most of African countries really. So that these conversations around politics, I think that we need an equal amount of concentration on our economics, because the economic development would actually answer the challenges of poverty and the challenges of some of the things that we see here in our country. And that has been the effort around these coalition arrangements, that you don't politic from day one, the entire 5 years. So we have to give the president kudos for that. The infrastructure development going on right now, and many countries develop on infrastructure. Once you build the roads, then the people will move goods and services and ideas will also move on those roads. So that's been a good idea, to concentrate on infrastructure, concentrate on security. So there are more important sectors than politics. It's just that unfortunately here, maybe with the level of development, a nascent democracy, we are still spending a lot more time on politics that we need to. We are hoping that with institutional strengthening, the IEBC is just about to come up with the new commissioners. The judiciary is in good stretch now, and the three women here are very happy about the new Chief Justice, hoping to stabilize the judiciary, stabilize the institutions, so that elections is just a matter of executive and legislature, both at national level and county level. And then we can quickly turn over to economics. And that's why the proposal around increasing the money for devolution, the 35% going on to devolved governments, the World Development Fund that addresses economic, social, and cultural rights issues, health, water, food, right at the world level. Those conversations are much more important. Taxation conversations. I think that those are very, very important. But you are also to blame. Here we have all fallen short of the glory of the Lord as far as economics is concerned. If you look at our newspaper today, I mean, half of it is politics. If you come to the shows, a lot of time is on politics. So it is going to be a societal change. It is not just the politicians changing. It is the media, it is the religious sector, it is the private sector developing a lot more strength to command more conversations on economic change. They did it in other countries. I think that we can do it here. The only thing is that this season now is the season for politics. But hoping that in 2022, and that's why for me I don't support the conversation around changing the election date. So let's have the election in August of 2022. Let's have the new government taking position, the 5th president. And you know, by about December, the petitions are closed. We know our members of parliament, we know our senators, so that from the year 2023 up to 2027, we can run with the economics.
Someone might say that's a bit wishful thinking
because
as soon as the election, then
we wish.
The next cycle begins of politics. There's something that came up from the African Court of, I need to get that right because there's a decision that was made by a court sitting in Arusha. I'm trying to get the correct title, African Court on Human and People's Rights, and they gave an advisory saying that actually countries in Africa, if they feel that the COVID-19 pandemic is so serious, they could delay elections, but said that if there are existing laws in those countries, then that can be done. If there are not such laws, then legislations have to be put in place, and all stakeholders have to be brought on board, including the civil society and the political players. And Honorable Wahome, have we gotten to a point, because I've been seeing a lot of rallies, including what happened over the weekend. I mean, politicians are just out there. They are not keeping the distance. It's very difficult to keep a distance in the crowds. They are not even wearing masks. Have we gotten to a position where COVID-19 pandemic is over? And should it worry us as we approach the the election of 2022?
Okay, Sam, I'll go to that question, but I would have wanted to respond very briefly to Nyokabi, Priscilla Nyokabi. You know, Commissioner Nyokabi works for the Gender and Equality Commission. And she has talked about politicking, maybe a lot of politicking. Priscilla has been doing politics from the day we put her into
you can't allow a personal attack.
Gender and Equality Commission.
It's not right.
No, you respond.
No, don't allow.
We
are here to debate national issues. Don't debate me. National issues, Alice.
Priscilla,
national
you brought
issues.
the issue of politicking. I'm using that as the perfect example. We were with her in Kiamba. She was wearing red with Beatrice Elachi. These are people who are not supposed to be doing politics, clearly, because they are supposed to be serving the Gender and Equality Commission.
And we needed the voice of women in Kiamba.
Some of the challenges she's raising here, she should be bringing them by way of proposal to Parliament, just like we should be doing as members of Parliament. When you look at the people you brought there, Kinamunya and Co., these are people serving the cabinet. And you know, so we should stop pretending and say that everybody has been doing some politics and maybe some development. Let's come to the question of postponement of elections. Article 102 of our constitution, you know, Kenyans were very clear about when you can and the reasons that would make us as a country postpone the elections. Article 102 will tell you that you cannot even postpone beyond 1 year. The first period you would be given by Parliament, and Parliament has to approve, is 6 months. And then you come back and persuade Parliament again and give reasons. And those reasons are war. Unless somebody wants to cause war, to produce war, to make Kenyans fight, and it's, you know, that fight is actually not so much internal. It is foreign, you know, when we are under attack by a foreign maybe country, not these small civil wars or fights between Priscilla Nyokabi and myself, or between Jessica and UDA, you know. That's not the war. So those are not the wars we are talking about. Those are political discourses. And there will be... But a pandemic? Pandemic, it has not, the Constitution did not consider that as an issue. You could then say, why is the African Court talking about this as an issue that would cause the country to postpone elections? Of course, the individual country, Kenya was not a party to that case, and it really doesn't bind us as a country. We could think that you can bring material to Parliament and try to persuade, but the way the law sits, the way the Constitution sits, I think you'll have a hard time convincing Parliament, unless people want to take, and Kenyans must be very careful, members of parliament, especially the ones who are not sure whether, and nobody is 100% sure that they will be re-elected. Members of parliament can jump on that, not because they care about COVID-19, because we have done very little regarding COVID-19. And you have asked me, you are doing, you seem to be interacting everywhere without worrying about masks. If you look at Kenyans everywhere, in the markets, in the matatus, in our daily affairs, I think the question of COVID-19 is no longer a stress point. I think we are moving forward and trying to work and live with it, because again, we cannot shut the country forever.
Okay.
And you see there is very little support from the government in terms of material and institutional support. So Kenyans have to...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Honorable Mbalu, so does it bother you? Because most of these meetings, like the pictures that we just saw there on TV, politicians are just mingling, and yes, people say that Kenyans have dropped the guard, but when that is done by you leaders as politicians, then it's worrying. What do you think the pandemic is going to be? What role will it play in 2022?
Very well, Sam. It really bothers me. Number one, the COVID-19 is real and it's there. We've lost many people. We've seen the statistics. And I think it is important that we still keep on, watching the regulations that were given. We wear our masks, we keep distance, and of course, I'm sure even the government is doing something about this. As leaders, when we lead from bottom, not top, it's really bothering. We must be the ones to give examples, and of course ensure that our people, the people we represent, that they are safe. And again, that one coming to politics, we should not marry the pandemic to politics. We need to separate, because losing Kenyans, it's not our wish. The politics on the issue of pandemic and also the date of election, as we are talking about, we should not use that as an scapegoat. And Kenyans, as far as the Constitution is concerned, we know the date of elections, and us, we are very clear that the second week of August should be the next election.
Okay.
So we should not just look for ways and means of trying to escape from the date. This was just an advisory, the one we got from the, is it a court or whatever? It was just an African, yes. It was just an advisory. And for it to happen in Kenya, we have to domesticate it, and we must also put the regulations
and I think the concern was what COVID-19 is doing to societies and communities in Africa. And I want us to listen to some voice of some members of ANC that were taken to court and fined 15,000 shillings per person because of contravening COVID-19 rules, the rules or regulations. Listen.
Protocol inasema mnaweza kaa na mkutano regulations. Sisi ndio tulipitisha regulation bunge. Unavaa mask, alafu mkutano muwe less than 150 people. They were less than 70 people. Sasa walivunja hapo hiyo COVID protocol. Hii ni siasa. They want to intimidate us. They want to intimidate our party leader Musalia. They want to intimidate party officials. But sisi hatutishwi. We were following COVID regulations.
Excuse me.
Okay, that is Ayub Savula, Member of Parliament there, of course, was speaking after being fined 15,000 shillings, still trying to defend himself outside the court. That would be the public court opinion. Let's talk to Tim. When you look at this and the impact that it's having, what do you think we should do when all these political gatherings or political meetings are happening, yet there's a standing presidential directive stopping the same?
Hello? Sam, I think what I'm hearing is that as we go out, we are politicians. Of course, we love crowds, we love people, we want to be around people, but we should also be alive that there's this COVID-19, that we don't also want to endanger the lives of the people we want to serve. We also don't want to be in conflict with what the government is prescribing. Because if we go out and we want to meet the people, let us make sure that we don't do things in a different, in the contradiction to what the government is saying, and then we turn around and say people are playing politics. It is just a matter of being responsible, and we need to be responsible enough. Even as we go to election, we should come up with ways of how we can campaign without necessarily of people. And I'm very sure that if us did something little, we will even minimize the spread of the spread of corona virus to other parts of the country. It is being done because some of us are being very reckless. We are meeting people, and sometimes you can even see that even leaders are not even wearing masks. They are not even observing the simple, basic, even hygienic requirements. So for me, we need all of us to be responsible. Leave alone what Honorable Safula is saying. It could be true, it could not be true, but we must also just exercise our own precaution that we are dealing with. This is a very different timing, and as we're moving forward to election, of course, we will be excited. We will be exciting people. People want to hear us, but we must also be responsible enough as leaders to tell people that we cannot do certain things at this time, because it is going to put us at risk for our own health and the health of the people we are dealing with.
All right, and Honorable Priscilla, as you wind up on this, yesterday some 550 people are reported to have contracted the virus, that is COVID-19, a positivity rate of 13.5%, which has been on the rise for the past few days, and 7 people also succumbed to this disease. So, I mean, we are not out of the woods, bearing in mind that the vaccination at the moment could be about 1.6 million doses given. So those are both first and second doses. So we will be with this for such a long time. How best do we approach this, that politicians have to sell the agenda to the people? They may want to meet them, yet you have to be safe.
Actually, that's the one thing about preparing for the election next year. It's going to be vaccination. I think that the hope would be that the adult population, we have 19.2 million registered voters in the voter register. The assumption would be that by the time of the election next year, the 19.2 million adults are vaccinated. And it's a bit sad that African countries are going slow on vaccination. But America and the first world is almost done, and they are the vaccine producers. So hoping that our country, and I'm really hoping that the ministry is doing everything it can to get vaccines. The number of vaccinations here in Kenya are still very low. And the thing with the political leaders is also that as many of them are vaccinated, because again, these by-elections, part of the problem is actually COVID. So this vaccine program needs to run faster. And then the effects of COVID on jobs and the effects of COVID, the stimulus packages, the special interest groups, the cash transfers. We've seen a lot of families land into difficulty over COVID. So those measures must be put in place alongside a conversation on preparing for the election. So that as we are preparing for the election, the vaccine mechanism, there's even a discussion around producing vaccines here locally. We've been producing the animal vaccines. So the government is looking at the animal vaccines production being turned into human vaccines production. I think there's science around that, our KEMRI, our institutions. So if the vaccination records can move faster, the promise by the president is 10 million by December. I think that needs to be achieved. With vaccination, I think that we should then be ready for the election next year. And the African Union, one of the lawyers, Don Dare, is a Kenyan lawyer. We have to again litigate here in Kenya. We can't use the litigation in AU. We would have to come and litigate before our own courts.
Okay. Of course, it's very important to understand the impact of these international decisions for the bodies that Kenya has is a member of, and what that means for the country. Let's take a look at the feedback. Fred Okango, this must be the Secretary General of Third Way Alliance, is saying that the greatest challenge for any serious presidential candidate now is to mobilize new coalitions of conscience to restore the promises, strengthen the blocs, and broaden voter access in the coming elections. Jacob Abere, better stay put. Wipe up party ratification on exit from Manasa is more damaging than constructive. Somewhere on earth, have we seen a river flowing to a stream? Wow, that is what Wiper and other briefcase parties are doing to Okay. Really? Coco
No,
Jambo?
no.
Everyone in UDA seems to have a different view or explanation for the bottom-up approach. Well, we hope that Kenyans can understand. Keno Richin, this is what Ruto is talking about. Power share, not ideas. Everyone wants to be the chief, and nobody is listening to the Kenyan poverty, which is creating victims everywhere. Well, the Khalifa, you say, so Wiper is leaving NASA to join forces with One Kenya Alliance, which is working with the Jubilee Party. On the other hand, Jubilee is in talks with the ODM Party for an alliance. This means they will all be working again together. And Okelo Mwalimu, you say, by proposing bottom-up economics, UDA is attempting to reset Kenya to factory settings. The only thing they aren't telling us is how they intend to achieve it. So far, it's just a political slogan like Tibim, Tialala, and Tuko Pamoja. That's what Kenyans are saying on Twitter. Asante sana.
There were no closing remarks.
You want to close? With in 10 seconds maybe.
I wanted to say that we hope that the government, the Ministry of Health, will not use COVID-19 to actually fail to produce, to bring vaccination on time. Like Nyokabi has said, we think that the government has been very selective in the way it has applied the COVID-19 rules. And therefore, it may use this as a strategy for purposes of seeing how they can delay the election. So we want vaccination. 10 million is not enough. I think it's a good gesture, but we need to vaccinate every Kenyan that is alive today, because even children, the new variant is affecting children. So we can't even talk about 19 million vaccines.
Okay, you use more than 10 seconds. Do you have any closing remarks? Because we need to be...
Yes, where I started from. That coalitions are good, but they have to remember women, youth, and persons with disability in the coalitions. Even OCA, Msiwache, special interest groups, and UDA as well. All coalitions must be the face of Kenya.
Okay, is it OCA or just One Kenya Alliance?
One Kenya Alliance. Okay, One Kenya. I want
your final remarks.
Yes, I want to congratulate my party, which I'm the Deputy Organizing Secretary, for joining the OKR, the One Kenya Alliance. And I just want to reassure Kenyans, and the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka takes hard decisions and positions. And this is a position we took and decision we took yesterday. Thank you.
But you said that with a smile. I don't know what you mean.
No, I was trying to address Honorable Ahome because yes.
No problem. Team Wanyonyi, finally.
I hear.
Team Wanyonyi, your final remarks. If you can hear me, that is. Well, Tim cannot hear me, but thank you so much, Tim Wanyonyi, Member of Parliament for Westlands, Alice Ohome from Kandara, Priscilla Nyokabi, the commissioner from the National Gender Equality Commission, and Jessica Mbalu, Member of Parliament for Kibwezi East. Like I keep saying, it's up to you, the Kenyan. Listen to the leaders, make your choice when that time comes of making that decision. My name is Sam Gituku. Up next is Willis Raburu with his crew here. They'll be talking about Matter Social. Stay tuned.